time that I Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Raptors Den, brought to you by Faulty Logics. Today is the 5th of May. We're in the second round of playoffs. Haven't heard from us since the beginning of the playoffs, really. And I got a few things to talk to you guys about. My name is Dan, and we also got Peter here with you.
What's up, MVPs? So let's get into the agenda that we have here today that we're going to be talking about this second round of NBA playoffs. A lot of good basketball happened in the first round. A couple outcomes, a couple surprises. Just going to get into that as a whole. Talk about the second round and where we are currently in all four of the matchups that are happening right now. Nothing else has really been on the front of NBA conversations other than obviously the NBA playoffs and some minor coaching switches. Well, actually not minor for these franchises, but some coaching switches, a lot of coaching interviews with a lot of teams that have parted ways with their coaches already. We can talk about a couple front runners, a couple names that we didn't expect to land jobs already. But other than that, we're going to get right into it here. It's going to be a good show today.
All right. So we also have gift cards that we have. We're still trying to give them out. Basically, very easy to get them. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Go down to below the video, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment in any one of our Raptors Den videos. And I guess at the end of the season, we're going to pick a winner. And you get a $15 Google Play gift card.
Definitely. When we have our season wrap-up podcast, we're going to give out a winner there. But let's get to 100 subscribers. I know that's our goal that we're still looking to hit out to. One last more amendment on the agenda. We are going to be talking about the Raptors and their current situation in the first round, second round, a little bit more heavily than other teams as well, purely because it is the Raptors' den. But let's just jump into the first round and the outcomes of those 8 series that we've had to watch this year. Do you want to start in the East or the West there, Dan?
Let's take it to the East. The West is a bit more juicy. Let's say
that is true. That is very true. I think the West does have one of the better series as competitive nature. But getting into the East, we can start off with the one that was the more straightforward of the series, the Philly-Miami. They won in 5 games, Philadelphia over the Heat, 4-1. It was very convincing most of the games that Philly was the upper hand.
And most of it without Embiid.
Yes, actually, 3 out of the 6 games, 3 out of the 5 games, or 2 out of the 5 games without Embiid.
Yeah.
And then all 5 games without Embiid at 100% because he's still not even 100% in the second round.
Still wearing his mask.
Yeah, and he's still playing with that mask. Like he absolutely hates it. Like you can tell.
I would too, because like of all people and all masks that we've seen, his is the stupidest looking mask we've seen.
It is. It's like literally a bubble on his face. It's like they wrapped his head in bubble wrap. Honestly, but to his defense, if he gets another significant hit to that, he could go blind in that eye. I wouldn't be playing if the doctor said you could go blind if you play without this mask. I'm either having that mask glued to my face for the whole time I'm playing, or I'm not playing. Like, what are you gonna do if you're blind? If you lose your sight in that eye, you're not gonna really do anything ever again.
Right.
So,
especially after watching this series and you see some of these Miami Heat players. Yeah, they obviously don't care, and it's kind of shitty because like that's a guy that you play with, and there should be some sort of camaraderie between NBA players. Like that's a guy's career. Like you don't want to end his career.
It's true, but then again, you're looking at it as your career. If I don't win, my career might not go to the next year, or I won't get the next contract.
Yeah.
So Embiid, I understand you want to fight, you want to play. That's what I would do as well, but. No holds bar, no friendship here. I'm gonna go to the heart to the rack.
If you were Philly, would you have brought him back so soon? Do you think they needed him?
Yes, they did need him. Well, not in that series, maybe not in that series, but then I wouldn't trust an Embiid second, like his first playoff action is in the second round with a much better team than the Heat. So I think it is better to get his feet wet in playoff because he hasn't been in the playoffs before.
Right.
This is his first playoffs.
Absolutely.
And then his first playoff debut in the second round, that might be very overwhelming. So yes, I would have rushed him back if he wasn't ready for the whole first round. I wouldn't have played him for the rest of the season. It's not like he's Steph Curry, who is a 2-time MVP, 2-time NBA champion, who has done it before.
Right.
So sitting out the first round is not, and you have Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, so you don't really need him as much as Embiid is on the 76ers.
Yeah.
But you can't put a 2-time MVP in the second round because he's done it before. Embiid's never done it, so I wouldn't trust it. I like that they put him in the first round. I don't know. Would have had to talk to the doctors extensively before I made that decision, though.
What about the whole Hassan Whiteside situation within Miami?
And no, that's very true. That is definitely going to be a conversation that we're going to have in our off-season podcast or at the wrap-up. Where's Hassan Whiteside going to go? I don't see him staying in Miami.
Like he's not happy.
No, they're not happy.
Miami's not happy. I don't know, man.
Like honestly, he is going to get moved. I think they found a nice piece in Kelly Olynyk. Like, who would have thought that? But
he'll be like another like Cody or Tyler Zeller.
Or like
they'll stick around in the league for a long time.
Fred
but
Kapinski.
He's not carrying any team.
No, but he's going to be a nice role player piece to build, not around, but to build with.
Yeah,
like he's the piece to build with.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Hassan Whiteside is a franchise center. He is someone you can build around. He doesn't shoot like Embiid. That's fine. But he can post move is way better than, well, not way better than Embiid, but it's equal to Joel Embiid's post work. Defense is on par as well. He's a good rim protector. Any team would be lucky to have him if they can get him to buy back into the franchise. I think that's what all it was in Miami. Pat Riley lost him. Like
he's young. He has an ego.
Yep.
I think that's one of the things as well. Maybe he needs some sort of veteran to kind of whip him into shape and be like, hey, you look like you're doing it all wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have the skill to be great, but you're a little bit full of yourself.
It's true.
Right?
But then isn't Alonzo Mourning some sort of advisor type with the Heat? Like Alonzo's a good mentor to have Hassan Whiteside like, listen, bro, like shape up or you're going to get shipped out. So get ready. Because I know there's a lot of teams, especially with the big men. I see with big men, they need more mentorship than guards really do. Like with JV has Jamal McGlure. And like everyone has one of those big pieces that they learn off of. I forget what big man was working with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. One of the big men in the Lakers or someone like that. So they do. You are right.
Julius Randle, maybe.
Yeah, I think it might have been Julius. I think it was Julius Randle as well, actually. Someone like that though, and I know Ben Simmons was working with another big man as well. But that's what it seems. You are totally right. Big men need a mentor to shape them up, especially with the game getting a lot more fast paced and shooting. They need a solid big man because that's not Hassan Whiteside's game. You can't transition him to be an up and down the floor spot up shooter. It's not going to happen.
You need to have some sort of a post game where you can beat people.
You need a big man to teach him the old school game because it's still valuable in this game. Yes. It's not going to be what you build around, but
especially when the league is so focused on this 3-point shooting, if you get a center that can dominate the paint, no teams are going to be able to have an answer for you.
No.
That's why DeMarcus Cousins is doing so well.
Yep.
Right. So.
And with Andre Drummond, even though he's on like a really bad Pistons team, he's still putting up his 20-20,
right?
Which is valuable, right? And he's not shooting outside the paint,
right?
He's not shooting a three, so it's still doable. So I like the Philadelphia series as a whole. I was gonna say it's not entertaining to watch, but it was entertaining to watch because of the physicality. Yeah, but like the game itself, it wasn't really like I don't think any game was within 4 or 5 points. But it was a battle. It was a battle.
What do you think of Tristan Thompson for Hassan Whiteside?
Straight up, no, that would not work. But then again, it's who would it not work for? I think it wouldn't work more for the Heat. That would be the Heat would lose too much for straight up 1-for-1.
Right.
But Hassan Whiteside to the Cavs would.
It would benefit Hassan.
It would benefit Hassan. It would benefit the Cavs
if he can
get his ego in check.
Yeah, if LeBron can get his ego in check.
If he can check his ego with LeBron James, arguably the greatest player of all time. No one's going to check this guy's ego.
Right.
Sorry. So it would work because he is sort of like a juiced up DeAndre Jordan, right? Like a little bit younger DeAndre, plays defense like him, can't shoot outside the paint,
right?
Gets rebounds.
I say he's like a shitty Andre Drummond.
A worse Andre Drummond, a younger DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
So it would work. Why not? If he can check his ego. Mm-hmm. But now that we were talking about Tristan Thompson and the Cavaliers. At the start of this playoffs, if anybody said the Pacers were going to take the Cavs to 7, you are a damn liar. You did not say that was going to happen. I knew it was going to be a battle, but 7 games, that was the first elimination game LeBron James has ever faced in the first round. Yeah. That's huge.
Man, like I'm gonna come out and say this right off the bat. I counted the Cavaliers out in the first round.
I thought so
As
too.
as much as I didn't want LeBron to lose in the first round, I didn't think that his team had what it took to help him get to the second round. And man, he just put on a performance, man. Like I've been saying in the last few podcasts, like he's already averaging a triple double. How much better can he get?
Yeah.
He's still got better.
Yes.
I'm at a loss for words.
like like I was gonna say, at the start of the series, I did not think. Well, I thought the Cavs were gonna go to the second round. Of course, after the first 2-3 games of that series, I was like, no, it's over. When I saw Victor Oladipo, saw how crappy
Yeah.
the Cavaliers team played around LeBron,
Yeah.
I didn't think he could do it. But then watching game 5, 6, and 7, he literally picked up every single Cavalier, put them on his back, and said, guys, with or without you, I'm going to the second round. Sorry.
Yeah.
And he did it without J.R. Smith, without Kyle Korver, who had in game 7, like, what was it, like 12 points between them or something? Like, trash. So,
And Kevin Love has been pretty much invisible the first round.
invisible the first round.
I was comparing, like, I saw some stats comparing him, this team and the team that he had in like 2008 or something with Big Z.
Yeah, the first.
Big Z was his Big Z was his second best player on the team, averaging like 13 points a game.
Yeah.
Kevin Love this series, or at the time that I checked the stats, was the second best player on that team, averaging 11 points a game. Like LeBron is carrying the shit out of them.
And we knew that's what he was doing back in 2008, 2007, his first playoff run. But then again, he was 20, 21 years old. He was young. He was energetic.
Right.
He could carry a team
Right.
at that time. Now he's 36, 35,
34, I think.
Yeah, someone 34, 35, 36. A little bit older, a lot more wear on the tires. And the excuse was last time, he was carrying Daniel Gibson, Boobie Gibson, Zydrunas Ilgauskas, like just scrubs, absolute scrubs.
Complete scrubs.
But now when you look at his team, he has Kevin Love, almost a double-digit All-Star. He has J.R. Smith. He was like in talks for Sixth Man of the Year back a couple of years ago, multiple times. He has superstars on his team.
Yes.
So it's the fact that they still couldn't get it done was very shocking. And the next thing that was even more shocking was Game 7 when Tristan Thompson had a double-double, like a significant double-double, a 2013 game, I think. When Tristan Thompson's your second best player in a closeout Game 7, I'm sorry, like something's wrong.
Yeah,
something's wrong.
They played their old lineup with 4 of the guys from their championship team.
And
right?
honestly, that's the lineup that won them that series. It was the LeBron, J.R. Smith, Korver, Love, Thompson.
Yeah,
like that line was their line.
It was really incredible to watch that game.
Honestly,
man,
not as a Cavalier fan, it wouldn't have been incredible to watch. As a LeBron James fan, that's when it was incredible. And then, yes, I know 99% of all Cavalier fans are solely LeBron James fans, so I can see that. But like, I'm not a Cavs fan. I'm not really a LeBron fan. I'm a LeBron admirer. I respect his game. So it was pretty impressive to see what he did in that Game 7.
So one of the things here is that the Pacers now have been eliminated by LeBron James 5 times.
Yes.
So nobody else has lost to LeBron James as much as the Pacers have. But I guess the next matchup we're going to talk about.
Yep.
Oh, no, we're not.
Well, not yet. That's
good.
Next round. But that's going to come. If you guys have followed the show at all, you know what we were talking about here. But let's get into the other matchup in the West, in the East that went to 7 games. The Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks. That series was actually very, very entertaining.
It was.
I thought that was very, very entertaining, especially with Boston without Kyrie, without Gordon. It was really fell all on Al Horford's hands, and he dealt with it very well with his 2 rookie sensations that just came in ball.
Terry Rozier, man.
Scary Terry is legit. Like, I don't know if you can have a playoff rookie of the year. If that was an award, hands down has to go to Terry Rozier. Like, Ben Simmons has been playing out of control, and so is Donovan Mitchell. But Terry Rozier just literally went to ball.
Here's the thing, though. He's playing without Kyrie right now.
Yep.
What are they going to do once Kyrie is back? They have 2 amazing guards. Are they going to give him up for something else? it's kind of a waste to keep him there if they're not going to play him.
It's very true, and it's the same question that they were having about Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
They're exactly the same position, same build, very similar games.
And it just happened to injuries gave them the opportunities.
Exactly. So it's like, yeah, they have a lot of valuable pieces that they very well could sell. Because don't forget, Jaylen Brown and Tatum, they play fairly similar to Gordon Hayward's game. They're a little bit more inside presence than Gordon Hayward, but they are still long, lanky wing defenders that can shoot the ball.
Just
and that can play defense.
Less polished.
Yes. Well, just because that's with age. So they could very well get to that polished state in 3 to 4 years.
Potentially better.
Exactly. But they won't get the chance to be polished sitting on the bench. And other teams know that as well. So I know my cousin is a pretty big Boston Celtics fan, and he is saying that he would not be upset to see Terry Rozier sold. Because right now, his stock won't get any higher. Like, he is already, you can make the case that he's going to be one of the best point guards because he plays defense.
Yep.
He's fast. He can shoot. He's not afraid to get in the paint. He can go, not multiple positions, but he can go 1, 2, 3 pretty solidly.
Yeah.
And he has the aggressive mentality of knowing I'm not afraid to take the big shot in the big moment, and I'm going to hit it. So that's invaluable. You can't really teach that. That's like the killer instinct. You can't teach that. You just hope you can find a guy that has it and groom it. And honestly, Terry Rozier very well could be groomed into be one of those premier point guards in this league.
And another thing that they could possibly package, because, I mean, the Celtics have Al Horford as center. They can do better.
Yep.
He's serving his role, but, I mean, you package him and Terry Rozier, maybe Hassan Whiteside.
I think that's too much for Hassan Whiteside. They would probably have to give up Hassan and a draft pick, which is beautiful.
Sure. Or like another player like Justice Winslow or something.
Yeah, something like that. Because but then again, Boston, if I was the Celtics organization, I'd rather have draft picks purely because the last 4 draft picks that they have been gold mines.
Right.
They have Brown, Tatum, Rozier. That's 3 for 3. Like, that's unreal.
Yeah.
So I would take a draft pick in Hassan Whiteside, sure. There's a lot of talk about Kawhi Leonard being moved.
Mm-hmm.
Send out, why not go to the Spurs and go, I'll give you Jaylen Brown and Rozier for Kawhi. That's pretty good. Like, hey, you got 2 budding stars for a superstar who's top 5 in the league who doesn't want to be there. So get 2 people that want to be there who have a future. That's pretty interesting. I would at least pick up the phone. If I was the Spurs, I'd listen to it.
For sure. Especially when you know the Spurs don't want to trade to the Lakers.
Yes. Lakers or the Warriors or any super big team like that in their own conference. So hey, I'd listen to the call. I don't know. But let's go to the main series that I know our Raptor Den fans have been watching. This first round was the Toronto Raptors and the Washington Wizards. So I know last year we lost to the Cavs or the Warriors or the Wizards. Right? We got swept by that was 2 years ago.
The Cavs.
Got swept by the Cavs last year. 2 years ago we lost to the Wizards.
No, we also lost
to the Cavs.
The Cavs, yeah.
I remember when year we got swept by the Wizards.
No.
Oh, we might have. Doesn't matter. Well, we played the Wizards here this series. It was a lot more closer than I thought it was going to be, especially for a 1-8 seeding matchup or 1 versus 8. It went to 6 games. Your Raptors closed it out 4-2. Any takeaways there from the Raptors?
Raptors, I think, played pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have too much to say about them. I expected them to make it to the next round.
Me too.
So nothing crazy about the Raptors.
That's what I was gonna say. Nothing really good to take away from that series. It went to 6. We showed heart in Game 6 and Game 4.
We played like we usually do.
Yeah. We won on the road, which was huge because we lost at home, which was a big shock to a lot of our fans. We did what we had to do. Nothing really good to take away. It was
to be fair, like Van Vliet was out a bit.
Yeah, that was the next thing. We missed Van Vliet for a couple games, which really had some growing pains to go around. But it was very, very good to see the Raptors could take adversity and still build and rise above it.
Yeah. For now.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the next series. I don't even want to talk about it. But let's get into the West Coast here. Let's start off with the Houston T-Wolves. Again, nothing really big to take away. I give credit to Minnesota for winning a game.
Timberwolves. Derrick Rose.
Yeah, credit for Derrick Rose. That's actually one takeaway.
Yeah.
Is he back? Maybe, okay, let me rephrase that. Okay, he's never going to be back to the MVP caliber that he once was.
Well, let's not.
He would never come back to the MVP caliber he once was. But can he come back to relativity? Like, can he come back and be relevant?
20-point player.
Yeah. I wouldn't even say 20-point player. I would say a 15-point player, not 8 to 9 assists a game, and defense. And he never really had a jump shot. If he can hone in a little bit of a jump shot, that would be a very, very solid starting point guard in this league. Because he's not a starting point guard on the Timberwolves. No. It's Jeff Teague.
Yeah.
So can he come back to starter status? Not all-star status, not superstar all-NBA status. I don't believe Derrick Rose will have that in him.
Right.
But can he come to a 82-game starter? With any team. Might not be with the Timberwolves, because yes, Jeff Teague is there. I don't think he's going to pass Jeff Teague.
Probably not.
But could he come and be a starter on one of those lowly, I don't know, what the Suns? Well, like I know Devin Booker's there, but like, you know what I mean? Like one of those teams. Yeah. Could he do it?
I don't see why not. I honestly think he's gonna have no issues being a 15-point player, 15-point per game player, as long as he stays healthy. I think just based on what I've been watching in the past 2 or 3 years, I think he can get back to a 20-point per game player as long as he stays healthy.
Yep.
I still see like some moments of brilliance from him. He's passing well. Mm-hmm. He's slashing as he normally does. Good shots. He still knows how to play the game. So it's more or less staying healthy and
mentally strong. Remember when he just walked away from his team for whatever the situation was? That's fine. You had your own situation. Yeah. But be mentally strong to try and put that to the side and do your job. To be honest with you, I don't see why not. But the one reason why he might not make it to that next level would be because, to me, he's a very system kind of guy. He played really, really well with Tom Thibodeau in Chicago and in Minnesota. Yeah. But then when he was without Thibodeau in New York and things like that, he sort of felt...
He couldn't play the triangle.
Yeah. And he fell out with...
but he still averaged, like, I think it was 16.9 points a game with New York.
With New York?
Yeah.
So he had okay. So he did okay with New York. He fell off in Cleveland, but that was sort of just everybody fell off in this Cleveland experiment that they had this year. He is a very system guy. If you get him in the right system, I can see him being a starter. Like I was saying, not all NBA, not all star, but he could be a very important piece to a team, such as similar to another point guard that we're going to talk about very shortly in a Rajon Rondo. Rondo's not going to make any all NBA teams or any all star teams, but he is a guy who can get your team going. He is the heart of a team. Derrick Rose, why not? Why can't he be the heart of it? He won't be the face of it or the instrument of it, but he could be the lifeblood behind it. I'd like to watch it. Other than that, Houston, any takeaways for Houston? They went in, did the job.
Houston did their thing, man.
Yeah, it's no surprises there.
If they hit their threes, they're probably going to win.
Yeah.
If they don't, you'll see them lose, against the Timberwolves.
Because their defense is actually pretty decent. But
it's not bad.
But then every team they're going to get into a shooting match against Houston, and they're going to go to 100, 110 points a game. If you're not going to score 110 points a game, they're definitely going to score 110 points a game. So you have to score.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Golden State Warriors, San Antonio Spurs matchup. Yet again, nothing really big to take away. Warriors did their job without Steph Curry.
Got lucky.
Really?
Yeah. They got lucky against the Spurs, man.
Oh, you mean they got lucky to face the Spurs?
Yes.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, they did get lucky in the matchup, but then I think they just handily beat San Antonio. It was unfortunate about the Popovich situation that his wife passed away in the middle of the series, so he missed game 3 and 4.
The Spurs didn't have a chance.
No, they really didn't. Without Kawhi, it was all on LaMarcus Aldridge, and he really had no pieces around him.
The next person up was Rudy Gay. Yeah,
and they force-fed Rudy Gay the ball. And speaking from a Raptor team that did the exact same thing, it don't work. Nah. And we clearly saw it not work. So it was just unfortunate timing for the Spurs to be where they were. Give them credit. They made playoffs. They were, a 7 seed? 6, 7? 7 seed. Because Houston was 1, and so they played Golden State against 7. They did work. They got there.
I would have rather liked to see Denver in the playoffs.
Me
To be
too.
honest.
Me too. But like, yet again, situational. I would rather see Denver, but I'd rather have Denver Timberwolves in the two. But then I'd rather have Timberwolves over Denver in the
Yes.
playoffs.
Yes.
So like, it would have been weird. No big takeaways there. Golden State did their thing. Good for them. Came out without Steph Curry. Klay Thompson balled out. Actually, Draymond Green balled out. He is a perennial triple-double kind of guy in the playoffs. It's not going to be the LeBron James triple-doubles with 30 points, 15 assists, and like 12 boards. It's a solid 12,
10,
12,
10.
12.
Yeah, something like that.
I'd say, 12, 11, 10, something like that. It's respectable numbers from a guy that's, 6'9"? Not very super athletic. Like, he's not going to run down the court and beat you. He's not going to jump over you. It's very just a solid all-around game.
Hard player,
Yeah.
smart player.
Yes, IQ, basketball IQ. But like, he's not gonna wow you with his jumping ability. He's not gonna wow you with his shooting or his like. It's all mental. It's sort of like Fred VanVleet. Like VanVleet.
He's my favorite Warrior.
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
I love
me too.
Draymond.
Me too. I love Draymond Green. I love the feistiness.
Yeah.
I love how Chuck hates him. Like, that's pretty funny as well.
Yeah.
But like their game is very much like Fred VanVleet, who's not very athletic, but they wow you with their mind, their decision making. They're knowing where the ball needs to be at the right time.
Steve Kerr said it recently himself. Without Draymond Green, they would not have their 2 championships. And it's exactly true.
I totally agree. Well, more so on the first championship. The second one I still give to Kevin Durant. Even without Draymond Green, with Kevin Durant in the fold, they were going to win that championship. The first one was very much so Draymond Green's championship that he helped win as well.
And he could thank Kevin Love and Kyrie for being injured as well.
Yeah, that as well. But hey, you got to take the advantages when you get it. So good for him. But going on to some more of the more entertaining, one of them's more entertaining and the other one's more surprising. Yeah. Should we go with surprising or entertaining first?
Let's go surprising.
Let's go surprising.
Yeah.
I was absolutely floored when we saw New Orleans Pelicans sweep the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah. I think in our predictions, you might have said like a sweep for the Blazers or 5-1 or something. 4-1.
I went 4-1. I think I went 6 games Blazers was going to win. But like, woo, was I wrong?
Man, I knew playoff Rondo was going to come out.
No, I know.
But you heard me call it that playoff Rondo.
I know we did have that conversation with the Boston Celtics when we were talking about the beef that they were having. And I know I went on the record saying, I don't believe Rondo could get back to what he was in Boston.
Yeah.
I am eating those words right now. I think I said it last podcast as well. Rondo.
Playoff Rondo.
Damn. So let's go into New Orleans swept the Portland Trailblazers 4 games in a row, being a 6th seed. Yeah. I'm pretty sure Portland was 3rd. They were 6th. Without their best player. Because I know me and my brother had another argument here. I think DeMarcus Cousins is the best player on the Pelicans. My brother thinks it's Anthony Davis, of course. Arguments could be made both ways. Right. But fine, they were missing their 1B player on their team.
Right.
Which is still unbelievable to come and sweep a higher seed.
Yes.
I don't know.
Anthony Davis is a beast. And Anthony Davis is going to do his thing.
Yes.
But the guys that stepped up, you have the Rajon Rondo, and you have fucking Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday is the greatest. Besides James Harden, because James Harden could get into the paint with ease. Drew Holiday, his cuts to get in there, the Euro steps to get in the paint is unbelievable. I didn't think he had it.
He's always been a good offensive player.
Yeah.
But what really shined in his game here was his defense. Mm-hmm. He was playing 2 ways and he was playing hard, and it was just amazing.
He was the one that was mainly on CJ McCollum or Damian Lillard, more so on CJ McCollum. But he balled out. It was really good to watch. I was very impressed with the whole New Orleans organization, even with Alvin Gentry, their head coach. He knew what pieces needed to be pushed, what buttons needed to be pushed, pieces to be where, and he got the job done. Mm-hmm. Good for him. I know it's very, very late into the season. No one really thought the Pelicans were going to be this good. But Alvin Gentry, if there could have been a Coach of the Year playoff style, like what we were going to give to Terry Rozier for Rookie of the Year playoff style, I think it could go to Alvin Gentry for putting these pieces together and getting a sweep in the first round. That's unbelievable.
Incredible.
Good for them.
biggest shock of the playoffs so far, to be honest.
Definitely the biggest shock. But now to the most entertaining series.
My favorite series.
Like to my mind as well, the most entertaining East-West, the whole first round. Utah Jazz versus Oklahoma City Thunder. This series went to 6 games. It went 4-2 Utah Jazz on the road. Didn't have home court advantage that whole series there. It was in Oklahoma mostly. Donovan Mitchell, Ricky Rubio. That's it. That's all you can say. Like, they had Ingles.
Joe Ingles?
They had Ingles shooting some threes. They had Gobert on the inside. They did their thing, but no. The team went through Ricky Rubio and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
No questions asked. A rookie, and I don't want to say a has-been, but he hasn't been relevant for the last 2-3 years.
He's been the same player that he's been since he got into the league.
Yeah, so like,
it hasn't really gotten better.
True, it's very true. I wouldn't say a has-been. I would just say didn't live up to the hype.
Yes.
When he came from Spain as a 19-year-old, we thought he was going to be like the next Steve Nash mixed with John Stockton.
Yeah,
but like didn't pan out that way. It's looking like it did in the first round. At least we'll give it up to that for the first round. He did really look like everything that people were saying he was going to be coming from Spain. I don't know. I was very pleased to see what I saw. With Utah Jazz. Anything you want to talk about the Jazz there quickly? Because I have some things I gotta say about the Oklahoma City.
I gotta say some stuff.
Okay, good. We could change over to the Thunder there.
So, Rubio, I want to give him some props as well too. Just so that's on the record, I was a really, really big fan of Rubio. I almost bought his rookie jersey as well.
With the Minnesota Timberwolves?
Yeah, with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I was a huge fan of him. I watched some of his European games as well too because he got drafted, but he played overseas still. Yep. And I was like, man, this guy needs to come. Like, why is he taking so long?
Yeah.
Right. But he didn't have a good jumper, and he never did. It's like his shot was the Achilles heel of his game.
Yep.
And this series was like, where the hell did this shot come from? And he's not making just regular jump shots. Some of these are freaking hard shots that he's making.
Yes.
Right. So I'm like.
It's his Hercules man bun power.
It's like
it's the man bun.
It's like I watched a meme. I looked at a meme and it said, I sent it to you.
Yeah, with the man, yeah.
Steven Adams.
Steven Adams with the man bun. But it really was. Like Steven Adams started the ball when he got that man bun growing in full. So, I don't know.
But yeah, like I was just super impressed. I'm like, it's cool to think that we can see what he is capable of. Yep. Is like, can he sustain it?
Yeah.
That if he can sustain it, he could become a top elite point guard.
He could. He could very well be very important to a lot of teams in an organization if he can sustain this play that he's had, which is hard.
Like, next thing, Donovan Mitchell. So one thing I really like about this series, it kind of goes against what I was saying before too, saying how like Donovan Mitchell, he's like probably the most humble guy out there. He he does his thing and whatever, right?
Yeah, leaves it at that.
It was getting so chirpy, and like I loved it because this rookie is coming up into their faces and being like, "Yes, I'm that good."
Yes,
I love it.
But then it does go against what you were saying, but it's the reasoning behind it was because Russell Westbrook wasn't back. Like he was egging him on, like he was saying, like this rookie is good, but like I'm not going to let him beat me.
Yeah.
And then Donovan Mitchell, like it doesn't matter how good you are or like how humble you are, if someone's calling you out and you're winning, like he's not getting slapped on the court. He is keeping up with Russell, so he's looking like, are we watching the same game? You're saying I'm trash? Like I'm putting up similar numbers to you, and we're winning games.
Yeah, his Donovan Mitchell's confidence level is like sky high right now,
as it should be.
As it should be, and it's really fun to watch. I love watching all these things about how these Thunder players are like starting to regret that they gave him advice at the beginning of the series or at the beginning of the season.
Honestly,
what did you think about Russell Westbrook trying to shut down Ricky Rubio after that big game that he had?
Yeah, it was necessary. I don't think because he did come out and say it on his press conference that he was not going to let Ricky have a game again. Yeah. It was one game amongst many. He did come out and I don't want to say stopped Ricky because they still won the series, and he still had pretty good numbers in Game 6.
And he got 4 fouls in the first half.
Yeah, but it's the fact of he did slow him down.
Yes.
He didn't go off to the extent that he did in Game 4 or 5, where he had that one output game. So I credit to Russell Westbrook because he had to do what he had to do. He had to stop the piece that was killing their team.
Yeah.
It still just wasn't enough. The reason behind why it wasn't enough, Carmelo Anthony. Like, I don't even know where to start with the Oklahoma City Thunder team this year. At the start of the season, I was afraid. I thought they were going to be like top 3 in the West. I thought it was going to be Houston, Golden State, Oklahoma. That's it. Like, no one else was even going to be in the picture. Like, San Antonio gone. They just did not mesh. They did not mesh. They did not gel. I don't know what conversations were had between those 3 guys to think that it would have worked at the start of the season to say, like, yeah, let's sell out and do it together. It didn't even come close to working. So, I don't know. Like, now it's the question, do you want Carmelo or do you want Paul George? Because there's no way they're going to keep all 3. It's not going to work. Russell Westbrook's going to stay there. He's a Thunder. Like, it's his team. It's going to be, or do we go away from Paul or do we go away from Carmelo? Which way do you think they might lean towards?
Man.
And you can say they both leave because they both very well could leave.
I think that they both will leave. And to be honest, like, if I'm the Thunder and you've seen the way that Westbrook has played, he kind of is toxic to the team.
Yeah.
Do you really want to keep him as well?
That's the thing. But then again, you can't really build around. Okay, well, you can't build around Carmelo Anthony anymore.
No, you can't. But with this free agency, I think a lot of teams are looking to blow up and maybe just do some trades.
He might be there, yeah.
You can trade to Portland. You can trade to Miami. You could trade to Washington. There's a lot of teams that are blowing up.
I know we did say that Portland and Washington should think about blowing up their backcourts.
I think they will.
And they very well could. No, you are totally right. With this free agency, you never know who's going to be available in June, July, August before the season starts. Would you put into the Oklahoma City a full team blow up, like Carmelo gone, Paul George gone, potentially Steven Adams, who has still some value?
I feel like if anybody, you got to keep Steven Adams. I mean, he's not. I don't think he has a huge contract on him.
I don't think so
if anything, if he's on a contract year right now, he might be worthy of one.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, you can keep Steven Adams. It doesn't hurt your team.
No.
He's a good chemistry guy too.
Yeah.
So
he seems like a very nice guy to get along with.
You can't if you're gonna blow it up though. You can't keep one of them if you're getting. You can't keep any of them if you're getting rid of Westbrook. If you're getting rid of Westbrook, you gotta get rid of them all.
That's true, and you have to. But like that's the thing. Oklahoma City, because they are a fairly new team as a franchise. Like, if we just count the Seattle Sonics, Supersonics franchise, and just think of the Thunder itself, they've never really been bad. Like, their very first year, I don't think they went to playoffs, but then the year after, when they got Russell after 1 year with Kevin Durant, they actually were always very good. So I don't know if it is in the mindset of a franchise that's only really had success to go into a full-blown rebuild so young in their franchise history. I don't see it being beneficial for the organization to do that. Russell Westbrook's one of those guys where I think he's just going to just stay with Oklahoma and go down with the ship.
But how many people can you get that will want to play with Westbrook?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know, because he is a stat patter.
Yeah.
He stuffs his stat sheet. He doesn't really
They only got one more win than they did last year.
Yeah, and they got 2 way better players. Like Victor Oladipo and Carmelo, I would say that, I wouldn't even say it's a wash, but at the time, it would be a pretty bit of a wash because, Victor now, this season's much better. But at that time, it was pretty much of a wash. And then Paul George come in, who's sick. So they got much better on paper, but on wins, they didn't. So, which is kind of surprising. I don't know. You might be able to find another young gunner with Russell Westbrook who would just gun with him and like play off of him very well. I don't know. You might find a nice big man that doesn't need to have the ball in his hands, sort of like a I don't know. Well, Anthony Davis needs the ball in his hand. Maybe Andre Drummond, because he doesn't really need the ball in his hands. He gets his points from rebounds and putbacks and just dump ins, which Russell Westbrook does really well with Steven Adams.
DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan. Like, But then again, I don't know.
I mean, you see the pick and roll plays that he has with Steven Adams,
Yeah,
and I don't see why you can't do it
with
with
anybody else. But
DeAndre.
but that's the thing. What's DeAndre Jordan have that Steven Adams really doesn't have?
Right.
It's yet again. I hate to use the term again, but it's pretty much a wash. Going for DeAndre Adams to DeAndre Jordan for Steven Adams. It wouldn't make a
Doesn't make
difference.
sense.
It would only be contractual if, for whatever reason, Jordan is getting paid less than Adams, which
No, he got a pretty big paycheck.
exactly.
And
So
he
it doesn't make
resigned.
sense. So it really wouldn't make sense. So I don't know. Russell Westbrook is an acquired taste to play with. I know that is a fact, but I don't know. I
Do you think-
Oklahoma should blow it up?
Do you think they would have won if they had Andre Robertson?
Yeah, potentially, because Andre Robinson's known for 3-and-D, right?
He could guard Donovan
And
Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell is their biggest threat. Who was guarding Donovan Mitchell most of the season? Was it Paul George?
I would assume so.
I think it was Paul George. He was
But
going
Paul
in between
George is
him and
also a
Ingles.
lot of Jay Crowder as well.
Oh yeah, and Jay Crowder was there as well.
Yeah.
But then you wouldn't need to waste a defender on Jay Crowder. He doesn't really go off that much. But then Robinson would have done really well on Donovan Mitchell. That would have been a really good matchup. Could I have said confidently, yes, 100,000% they were going to win? No.
Mhm.
Would they've had a equal or better shot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It would not have hurt their chances. They wouldn't have lost in 4 or 5. It still would have went 6, maybe 7. So, all the same to me. But that was the first round series. I know that you said that your favorite series to watch is the Utah Thunder. I also really appreciate the Utah Thunder. I did like to watch the Cavaliers Indiana series as well.
That was fun.
Me being a Raptor fan was hoping, praying Indiana one pushed it to 7 to tire out the King, or even beat the King, which would have been bonus for a Raptor fan here, because that's who we were going to play the next round. Winner of the Raptor series was going to play the winner of the Cavs Indiana series. Looking at it as a Raptor fan, I wish the Pacers won. A little bit of a better matchup here for the Raptors, but unfortunately, it didn't go all the way. Okay. So moving on to the second round here. Couple good matchups as of today. It is May the 5th. Today we have the Cavaliers versus Toronto, Boston versus Philly, and we have Houston versus Utah, and New Orleans versus Golden State in the West. As where it stands here today, we do have the 2 Eastern Conference games going for Game 3 for the Raptors, Cavs, Boston, Philly. Currently, it sits 2-0 for the Cavaliers and the Celtics before the 2 tip-off games today. On the West Coast, it does have 2-1 in both series, actually, oddly enough, for Houston and Golden State.
Mm-hmm.
Both up 2-1 on their respective series. So let's start in the West, because I know we have a lot to say about the Eastern matchup. So let's start with the West, which might be a little bit shorter to wrap up here for us. Let's jump into the Houston-Utah series. Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, who very much play a similar game. Well, any takeaways?
Man, it's going as you'd expect it, to be honest. Like, you want to cheer for Utah, but you know that Houston's gonna win.
Yeah, it's more or less you root for the underdog. You like to see the underdog try and shine, but you're not going to be surprised if they lose.
Mm-hmm. I think like the most entertaining thing about the series is the post conference.
Yeah,
Like the post game press conferences.
yeah.
They had that one game where they did win, and they had 4 guys up there on the Jazz side. They had Jingles, they had Mitchell, Gobert, and Alec Burks. And they kept asking
haven't seen a
questions and
lot.
stuff. Yeah, everyone's getting questions, and then like they're like, "Hey, look, like we're not answering any more questions until you ask Alec Burks AB a question, right?"
Yeah.
And then they ask him a question, and he gives like 1-word answer, and they're all just like, "Dude, what the fuck?"
We're trying to feed you here. Get your name out there. You're letting us down. Yeah, but Alex Burks, like that's what I was going to say. Like you haven't really heard that name in a long time.
Yeah.
It hasn't really been doing much, but like into these playoffs now. But then again, it's more or less that he's getting thrusted in that position because of the surprise injury
of
Ricky Rubio.
Yeah.
Hamstring injuries put him out of the second round so far. He hasn't played in any of the 3 games, surprisingly. They still won one, the most recent game. Most recent, or did they win game 2?
Game 2.
They won game 2 in Houston, which was surprising. And Houston came back, won game 3. Still very surprising. I know I wanted to talk about Donovan Mitchell and the James Harden matchup, who play a very similar game. It's very nice to see how they are going back head to head. They're still going like it's tick for tack. Like James Harden does something, and Donovan Mitchell does something else as well. I know in Game 3, Donovan Mitchell had one of the nastiest putback jams of his own shot I've ever seen. Like, woo, James Harden. Now it's your turn to do something like that, man. Like that's unreal.
That was ridiculous, dude. That was ridiculous.
I don't even understand how he did because he like jumped over his own team as well. Like Gobert was going for the ball. So was I don't even know who else was in there. I think it was Capella and Ariza were going up for the ball.
And it wasn't like it was off the backboard. Like, it hit the front of the rim.
And it shot back quick. And he just, boom, put it right back in. I loved it. I thought it was great. Surprisingly, Houston looked kind of shaky in all 3 games. Like, shaky as of, they're still the better team.
On the Houston Rockets standard.
Yeah, but as a Houston, at the start of the series, we thought Houston wasn't going to lose a game in these playoffs. But they have been put to the test against this Utah Jazz team 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
3 games in a row. I don't know. I like what I'm seeing from Utah. Do I think they're going to take it? Probably not. But they'll push the 6. Maybe
6?
Maybe 7. Maybe 7. But I can see going to 6. I can see them winning one more game.
I think Utah will get one more game in there. Yeah. Especially if Rubio can come back.
If Rubio can come back and he can play at his standards that he played in the first round.
Yeah.
That's what he would have to do. Nothing else in that series. That series is pretty good. But we can move on to the other West Coast series, the New Orleans Golden State Warriors series. That one jumped out to a very quick 2-0 start for Golden State at home. Went back to New Orleans, and New Orleans just put it to them. Honestly, they won by 19 points at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Pretty goddamn surprising to me. I would like to think.
I didn't expect the Pelicans to win this. I still don't expect them to win the series.
No.
But I kind of maybe it's us counting the Pelicans out again, and I thought they were going to get swept.
Yeah.
Especially since knowing that round 2 is when Stephen Curry comes back.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I want to see the Pelicans push into a 7-game series.
I think it's very possible. Like, the main takeaways that I've gotten from this series is, like you were saying earlier in the first round, playoff Rondo is serious. Yeah. Like
he just had a career high
of assists.
Yeah, playoff assists.
He had back-to-back 20 assist games, game 2 and 3.
Yeah.
He had a double-double without points. Like, when was the last time that was ever done? Let alone in the playoffs. But then he did have a 4 points, 10 rebounds, 21 assist game. Like, that is unfreaking believable. Anthony Davis comes back with a 38, 18 boards, 4 steals kind of game as well, shooting like 50% from the field. Realistically, it's only those two and Drew Holiday that are really getting the team going, and all the other role players are chipping in, which is what you need as an NBA team. You need 2 guys to put the ball in the hole, which is sort of Holiday and Anthony Davis, a guy to facilitate, Rondo, and you need role players, which is what they're getting everywhere around the bench. Yet again, without their best player, arguably their best player, DeMarcus Cousins. Like, would they be better as is or worse with DeMarcus Cousins on the court?
I think with DeMarcus Cousins on the court, Rondo may not have had the chance to play the way he has been playing. So I think that's something they're going to have to really consider in the offseason, whether or not Boogie is a guy that they want to keep on their team, being somebody who brings the ball up the court.
I was going to say, he dribbles the ball. He dribbles the air out of the ball.
Yeah.
I would like to think that they would be as is or maybe a little bit worse with DeMarcus Cousins on the court, even though he's a better player than whoever's on the court. But like you said, it's a different organization, a different play.
He's similar to Westbrook in the sense that
he needs the ball.
You're toxic to the team.
Yeah. He needs the ball. He brings it up the court. Like, he's always at the top of the key with the ball in his hands, either posting up or looking for something to facilitate, which doesn't really work with another big man on the court with Anthony Davis. It doesn't really work that well. It would be nice if he could take a step back, give up some of the point guard duties back to Rondo and really
Play in the
work
post.
work in the big man role, which being 6'11", 280, like that's
He
your
can-
role.
He can shit on any big man
Yes.
if he wanted to.
If he
Like
really
he could
wanted
be
to,
this generation's Shaq.
he could very well be this generation Shaq with like Paul Gasol and Tim Duncan aspects, because
Yeah.
he could move to the high post.
Yes.
He could be in the low post,
And he
dominate,
can hit free throws.
and threes, and pick and roll, and move his feet on defense. Like, he could very well be the best player in this game. Why not? If he just picks a role. I hate how they're I don't know if it's the team doing this or him forcing himself to do this, but he is trying to fit into a hole that's not his. Like, why would you try and fit into a point guard when you are 6'11"?
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I can understand you trying to do this stuff when you're in Sacramento because
you have
the
no
team
one
is
else.
complete shit.
Yes.
But once you move into a team that has the pieces, don't try to be a star. Don't try to be a hero.
You can understand. Gotta learn. You're not the whole team anymore.
Yes.
And it's not that you don't want to be the whole team anymore. You don't have to be the whole team anymore. So why put that much stress and pressure on yourself when there were very capable guys to take some of that stress off of you?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis, Rondo, Drew Holiday. Like, he's gonna learn to somewhat take a back seat in some of these situations, I think.
Like it reminds you a lot of like Blake Griffin, basically.
Yes. Yes.
You don't want to see a big man be your main ball handler.
Yes. it is. It
Like
is very
it's
true.
nice to see once in a while, but like
When
you can't
do
have that as
82
your
games.
primary option.
Yeah, it's very true. It is very true. But let's move to the East Coast here. We can talk about the Boston-Philadelphia series, which is currently 2-0 for Boston. Coming from a resident 76ers fan, do you think the 76ers can bounce back?
I think they can. The thing with the games that I've watched so far is that the plays they're playing well. The Sixers are playing well. It's more so bad decisions and not being able to hold on to leads.
Yeah.
Because
Game 2.
Charles Barkley said it the best. When they were up like 20 points, why are you still running and gunning and shooting threes?
Mm-hmm.
Slow the game down, wear them out, put Embiid in the post. You can even start playing faults at this point,
Yeah.
right? Like, why do you have to keep trying to run and shoot threes with like Covington and stuff?
Honestly, that's the 76ers game, though. They
It is
really
their game.
don't have the ability to slow it down and run an offense, because they really don't have any offensive pieces. Like, Ben Simmons is a great ball handler, a great decision maker on the fly. If you put him in stand-up ball, like 5-on-5 half-court offense, there's no real movement that you can make to get him open.
But I think Ben is good enough to play in the post as well too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he can back it down, back people down, and shoot in the paint.
If he really wants to, he definitely could.
Yeah, and then put Marco Fulton as the primary ball handler. You
Yeah.
need to give that guy experience too. He hasn't played
Sure.
much in the playoffs at all.
Well, he hasn't played in.
Has he played at all?
I was gonna say I don't think he's played in the first round. I know he hasn't played in these first 2 games in the Boston Philadelphia series.
Yeah.
I don't know if he played much in the first round because it was sort of a cakewalk. If they did, he would have had decent minutes because it was a pretty easy walk off.
I mean, yeah, the 76ers had very winnable games. Both games they could have won.
Mm-hmm.
It's just more so closing the games out.
Yes, that is very true.
So yeah, based on that, I think that they can still make a turnaround. I mean, most of the games that they lost were on Boston's home court.
Mm-hmm.
So
they still have their when they don't have the home court advantage overall in 7 games, they still have their home court ability.
yes,
They win 3 games at home and they go to a coin toss game 7.
Still won.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you have to do. Is it possible for Philly to come back? Very possible. Is it likely? From the way that Terry Rozier's been playing, no. It really isn't. And also the way that Ben Simmons played game 2.
Oh,
Like, we wouldn't be a basketball podcast without talking. He had 1 point in game 2. One, not a basket, people. Not a basket.
Yeah.
He had a point, a foul shot
yeah,
in a game. And he didn't get injured in the first 10 minutes. He played 32 minutes or 37 minutes in that game and had 1 point.
That's definitely an issue. Um, yeah, he needs to be more aggressive.
That yes,
Like he can't look to be just a passer.
nope.
Like I know he's really good at it, but this is something that I've said even at the beginning of the season. Sometimes he looks too much for that pass.
Yeah. And I know that the big takeaway from his wrap up press game wrap up was that he was overthinking everything. Which at this point of the season, I don't know why you're thinking at all. Everything should be muscle memory, doing what
Play
you
on
did,
instinct.
doing what you did in the regular season to get you here.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking about changing anything at this time of the season? You haven't really lost many games. You've lost one game in the playoffs before these two. You've beat the Celtics in the regular season. Well, maybe not. I don't know, because the Celtics they had that 18-game winning streak. So I don't know. They were pretty good. But like, why change anything? Your team is good. You're in a good situation. You're in a good position. You're still a good player. What are you thinking about? I don't know. It got me surprised. I don't know. Philadelphia still has a chance. JJ Redick is still playing really good in those two losses.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets a little bit of help with Ben Simmons, Embiid, Covington actually hitting a couple shots, which he hasn't really done this series, I think they have a shot. I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't
the
bet
process.
Hey, the process could still very well not be done yet.
I'm still saying 76ers to the finals. You hear it here first.
NBA Finals or Eastern Conference Finals?
NBA Finals.
God, somehow, if they beat this series, they still went into either the Raptors or the Kings.
I think they could easily beat the Raptors or the Cavaliers. Boston
or
is
the Cavaliers
hardest
as well.
matchup. Yes.
The Celtics are the hardest matchup without Kyrie.
Yes.
Hey, I don't know. You heard it here first, guys. It's the hot take of the day.
In terms of matchups for Philadelphia, yes.
Fair, because you think Ben can guard LeBron, which arguably could very well be a good matchup.
Like I think the Cavaliers, the Cavaliers would have a hard time against. No, the Cavaliers can beat Boston.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna be surprised because they don't really have anyone to battle with LeBron other than like Tatum and Brown, who would just get out knowledge because they're both very young. I don't know, because it would surprise me. Who would guard Kevin Love on the 76ers? You can't put Embiid out there.
What's that guy's name? Aaron Baines or something?
Well, he's on the Celtics. You mean for the? For the Sixers.
You mean the Sixers?
Who can guard? Because you can't put Covington out.
You can have like Amir Johnson or something. I don't know.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I forgot they have Amir on the bench. That's pretty decent.
Ilyasova.
Oh yeah, Ilyasova can do it, or Saric.
Yeah.
Saric can do it as well. Okay, yeah, actually, that's not bad. Because I'm thinking of it, because like you can have JJ Redick on JR or Corver, either or, because they're never really on the court together.
Right.
So yeah, and you can have Covington on the other guy who will be on the court there with him as well, and then Saric, and then you can have Embiid on Tristan or whoever else is on the big man at that time. Yeah, they could be pretty decent. Yeah, not bad. Let's go to the series that we all want to talk about in round 2. It was your own number 1 Eastern Conference seeded Toronto Raptors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, as of today is the day of Game 3. We are on about a couple hours before tip-off, so we really don't know what's going to happen there today. But it is 2-0 for Cleveland, going back to Cleveland.
Yeah. And by the time this episode comes out, the game is probably over.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm kind of interested to see how it goes.
First of all, being a Raptor fan, I am absolutely terrified, especially because we lost both of our games at home.
Yeah.
With the Raptors being top 2 of home court percentage wins.
Yeah, we've done season. Really well at protecting.
The only one that had a better one was the Rockets, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we lost both playoff home games in round 2 terrifies the crap out of me. Like, again, we ran into LeBron James in the playoffs where the King is just balling out of control. But in this series, which is a little bit different from the first series, his team's helping him. J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver had like double digits both games for them. Kevin Love dropped 30 points in game 2. Like, their team is actually coming together, which is terrifying.
Tristan Thompson's playing well.
Tristan Thompson's getting double-doubles while getting booed in his home city. In Toronto.
It's all about that cheating, man.
Like, honestly, I know I personally went to game 2 there, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, how disheartening would it be to go to your hometown of Toronto,
And be
being from
booed.
Toronto, and being booed?
Yeah.
If your home doesn't love you,
I think he was
who's
taking
gonna take you?
he's taking free throws and they were chanting
Chanting
Chloe.
Chloe's name to him. They were chanting Chloe's
And he
name
was-
when he got
He was
when he got
hitting the free
announced.
throws though.
Hey,
And, he's a 60% free throw shooter. He's
And he-
hitting them, man.
I think he went 3 for 3 in the first
Something
game.
like that.
And like he's shooting well over 80% this round alone. Yes, he's only taking maybe like 10 shots, but
Yeah.
he should only have like 4 out of 10. But he's shooting like 8 for 10 right now, which is unbelievable. The takeaway here is that LeBron is still carrying his team, but the load is not as heavy.
And he didn't even play well in the first game.
No, he did not. No one played well in the first game for the
Right.
Cavaliers. It was more or less the Raptors played even worse in the third quarter and fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, I think that at one point they missed 15 out of 16 shots.
Yep.
Like
And
when
actually-
you're shooting like that, your momentum's gone to shit. The Cavaliers are gonna have a chance to chip away at the lead,
and that's
and-
the last thing you want
and they didn't even have a lead until overtime.
Yes.
They never led in the game.
until overtime. The one thing that I took away from game 1, I took this from Kenny Smith on the TNT network. He did say that the Raptors in the fourth quarter, in the 12-minute span, they had 14 missed shots in the restricted area. Not in the paint, in the semicircle underneath the rim.
Yeah.
14 missed layups, tap-ins, or putbacks in 12 minutes. How do you even preserve a lead?
Yes.
How do you even make it to overtime missing 14 shots in the restricted area?
And that's where a lot of people are gonna hate me for saying this, especially Raptors fans, because as soon as that game was done, I went onto the Facebook Raptors boards and everything, where you guys are clicking this from, and all you guys are like, "Oh, it's the refs." Blah 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 blah. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up.
Me being a Raptor fan, I have to stop you there. I can't say it's solely the refs,
It is not solely the refs.
but they are a variable in this equation. They are not the catalyst behind it, but they are a variable. They are altering the game slightly. Not enough to say we lost because of the refs, but they sure as hell did not help us. And they did not keep it fair. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know, man.
That's all I'm going to say.
I think it was alright called game. I mean,
Okay, there have been definitely worse called games.
Yeah.
Definitely worse called games.
I know a lot of people are complaining about the LeBron foul
Mm.
on Serge Ibaka. They're saying like, oh, he pulled his Zaza, blah blah blah. No, it's not. It's really different. Zaza shuffled and continued moving.
Yeah.
LeBron did it and landed like that. So yes, he stuck his foot out a little bit, but it's a very different situation.
Yeah. It's very
The
different.
elbow again. I honestly am really surprised that they even upgraded to a flagrant one.
Really?
Yeah, because for me, how I saw it, yes, he did elbow DeMar in the face, but at the same time, he was moving within his circle of space.
He's
DeMar
secure.
got into his space.
And I agree with that as well. But there is a rule when you get the rebound. There is no more of the tuck the ball away, put your elbows up, and then demand you to get that circle of space anymore. There is none of that. You can't do that. So the fact that he did, the one thing that I took away from me, I knew it was a flagrant right from when I saw it. They should have definitely upgraded it. The
Yeah.
one thing that took it to me, they didn't review it.
Yes.
Like, that was what gets to me. They reviewed every goddamn thing that game.
Yeah.
They reviewed a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer when LeBron was 2.5 feet inside the 3-point line. It was clear as day. Waste of time. They didn't even review it. That's what gets me.
That was I'll admit, yes, they should have reviewed that.
But like
For
they,
sure.
they reviewed everything except that situation. But I know that we were going to talk a lot about the Cavaliers, but yes, I think it's the Raptors more so lost game 1
Yes.
and lost game 2, and they just didn't show
game
up.
Game two, you can't even argue. They
No.
they got shit on it.
They didn't show up in the fourth quarter. They came out hot in the first half, left it all in the locker room for the third quarter, thought they can find it at the start of the fourth, and they just gave up. It was just over by like 8 minutes left in the fourth. It was just done. Air was out of the ACC. it was just not a good scene. The one takeaway that I got from that, and I'm sorry if you give me 1 second here, where the fuck was Serge Ibaka? I'm sorry. Like, not even just for these last two games. In the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 playoff games this series, going back to game 4 of the Washington series, he has not scored double digits in any one of those 6 games. His best game in the last 2 weeks was when he went for 7 points and 10 rebounds. That's his best game in the last 6 in the playoffs. I don't know if you guys follow the Raptors or anything of that nature. This is his first full season with the Raptors. He came a little bit before trade deadline last year for the playoff push. We literally bought him to not get eliminated from King James again.
Yes.
Yet, we got eliminated from King James last year, and it's looking like we might get eliminated from King James again this year. The reason why we sold my favorite Raptor, Terrence Ross, for Ibaka was for defense. I was so salty about this, but then I sort of bought into it because Terrence Ross really he wasn't really good on defense.
Right.
He tried, which was nice. He wasn't
offense.
consistent. His 3-pointers were super spotty. His dunks were highlight reels. They were nice. But I bought into the Serge Ibaka is going to be our King James stopper. He's going to be our knight in shining armor to stop the Cavaliers' onslaught that they had. Bullshit.
Yeah, I never bought it from day one.
I did, but then again, I overlooked his Orlando Magic stint. I was looking back to the Oklahoma City Ibaka.
Yes.
When he was like dominant. So I was like, yeah, we can get that guy. We're going to be nice. We're going to have DeMarre Carroll to actually the full frontal on LeBron and then Ibaka on the back end. We're going to look nice. No. Honestly, looking at it now, I'd rather just keep Terrence Ross. Yes, a lot of different things would have happened. We probably wouldn't have drafted OG, where I do love me some OG and Anunoby, because we would have needed an extra winger. Mm-hmm. We probably wouldn't have signed CJ Miles, because we would have had that 3-point winger, where I do like CJ Miles sometimes. Keyword sometimes. But where we are now, I would have rather left Ibaka and just drafted a big man and started from scratch. Like, yeah, or give more time to Pascal. Give him some more creative time, maybe. I don't know. That would have been something to look at. But honestly, Ibaka, like, I just want to shout out his points that he's got in the last 6 games. So going back to game 2, he had 2 points. 2 points in 12 minutes from Ibaka. 9 points in game 1. In game 6, the closeout game against the Washington Wizards, 7 points. 7.3 rebounds. Like, and then game 5 of the Wizards, he had 3 points, 2 rebounds. 3 points and 2 rebounds in how many minutes did he even get? I don't even know how many minutes he got. 23 minutes. 23 minutes, he got 2 points and 3 rebounds. I don't know what Dwayne Casey is going to do, but I am absolutely pissed off if he comes back for some reason.
Being somebody who had him on one of my fantasy teams this year, I'm honestly not surprised. Because he was one of the guys that had to debate every single week and say, and I was like, is he actually going to perform this week? Like, he's going to have one good week and then he's going to have like 3 shit weeks. And is this the week that he's going to have a good week? I don't know.
No, we don't know. He's had 2 double-doubles in the 8 games these playoffs. Yes, his game 1 was unbelievable at 23 and 12, which is like what I expect him to do. I expect him a 15-10 guy, 15-12. But averaging, I don't even know what he's averaging this playoffs. But in the whole 8 games, he has 64 points in 8 games.
You know what it is as well too. When he first came in with the Thunder, we knew him as low post player. So he
low post defense.
Yeah, got rebounds, played defense, he could get putbacks, things like that. And he never really took a jump shot. He did it as a mid-range jump shot. The 3-pointer was something that he developed. So it's still something that's fairly new to him. not that consistent. He can hit it from time to time, but at the end of the day, it's not his game. But now that he has that shot, obviously he's gonna be more willing to take a 3-pointer than bang in the paint and get hurt.
Yep, and get
And
banged up.
and that's what it is. He's found a comfort zone where he doesn't have to fight and
Get hurt. Get
hurt
banged up.
every single game.
I like to think of his 3-pointer as his kryptonite. It's something that he likes and he uses, and when he uses it well, it could be very powerful.
Mhm.
But it's the thing that kills him every single time. Like, he shot 30% from the 3-point line in the last game, I think, or in the last playoffs, the last series. It's one of those things that you can live or die from, but it only seems to kill Ibaka. Something he's got to get away from. Like, I don't know what Dwayne Casey said to give him the green light to shoot from behind the arc. That light's got to go to red, and it has to be blinking red for the rest of the season. Like, you are not allowed to shoot unless you are wide freaking open in
By
the
the
corners.
elbow.
In the corners or the 3-point elbow. Like, that's the only thing. And I want to see at least a pump fake and a drive twice. You have to do it twice in the game before you can start shooting threes. I want to see you pump and then drive before you're allowed to shoot freely. Honestly, Serge Ibaka is such a waste. We wouldn't be a really good show if we didn't talk about our two studs of the Raptors, Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan. All in all, they've been playing decently enough in the playoffs, but just shrinking in the most inopportune times, in the third quarter and the fourth quarter.
And the sad thing to say is, we kind of said this even in our very first episode or two, how we've done really well this year in changing our play style to become a team-oriented basketball team. A lot of ball movement. Like, the biggest worry was in moments where we're feeling pressure, are we going to revert back to ISO ball? I am seeing a lot of DeMar DeRozan ISO ball
Yes.
in the playoffs.
Especially in the last 4-6 minutes of the game. When we are up by 6 or 7 points, it's a lot more ISO ball, a lot more DeMar take us to the next level.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because every team needs that. They need someone like LeBron James, James Harden,
Right.
Donovan Mitchell to put the ball into their hands and then take them to the promised land. It's just not DeMar.
It's not.
And it's not Kyle.
No.
And it's so unfortunate because, like, I don't know if we can buy someone to do that. Like Carmelo Anthony, because he has that killer man mentality.
I don't think he's coming.
But
to
not
Toronto.
anymore, no. And I don't think he can get hot like that anymore without being in a full rhythm for the whole 48 minutes where that's just a waste. But we need somebody to be a closer for us.
Spider Mitchell.
Like, okay, yeah, but Utah, you would have to sell your whole goddamn team to go to. Like, you'd have to sell your market.
Like Kyle Lowry.
No, they would need Kyle, DeMar, JV, every postseason ticket, a sale going to them for light. Like, no, it's not. They're not getting rid of Mitchell. Unfortunately, I just don't see the Raptors having a closer to help them bring them to the end. I know Game 3 is starting in Cleveland here shortly. Hopes are very, very low for a comeback to win the series.
Today, I'm wearing a LeBron James Cavaliers jersey.
The wine maroon color.
So, as much as I want the Raptors to win this series, I have to support LeBron James just for counting him out in the first round. This is my public apology to him. And I didn't think he was gonna beat the Raptors either. But again, I just have to pay the man respect because he's proving me wrong.
Man, honestly, I just want the series as a whole outcome. I don't see it being a thing. I just want a game. Honestly, I want them to come back to the ACC one last time.
Yeah.
Because like it was not a good way to end a season if Game 2 was the last game that they had in front of the Toronto Raptor fan base,
Right.
especially for how good they treated us this whole season.
Mhm.
That's not the way that they want to end it. I don't think so.
I think the Raptors can get a win.
Get the
there.
win on the road. Hopefully. I think they could steal one.
Yeah, I don't know if they can win the series, man.
Yeah.
So it's a big concern.
But moving on from that depressing conversation, I no more for the Raptors right now. To wrap up the show here, I know we've been going on for a little bit long here for you guys. A couple coaching switches and then jobs that have been solidified here. We have Dave Fizdale. Is his name David?
Yeah.
Yeah, David Fizdale as the new head coach of the New York Knicks. Previously was the head coach of the Grizzlies about 2 years ago. Maybe, 2 years or last year?
I think it was this year even. He got fired this year.
No.
Yeah, because there's no coaching changes.
That's what I mean. That's why I don't think he got
No,
fired
yeah,
this
he got fired
mid-season.
Mid-season because of the shit with Marcus Hall.
Oh, okay.
And then Jason Kidd got fired. Remember?
I knew Jason Kidd got
Yeah.
fired in the middle of the season.
That was all the same time.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
shoot. Damn. Fizdale did not lose a job for long. Good for him. Bounced right back. He's the new head coach of the New York Knicks, which is a good fit. I like Fizdale as a coach. I remember him with the Grizzlies last year in the playoffs.
Kenny Smith applied for that job.
Really?
Yeah.
And they didn't give it to Kenny?
No.
Ooh.
He even brought out the
board and
the board and being in the screen and everything. Man.
Oh man, I would totally want Kenny Smith to be my coach, man. That'd be sick.
Well, I think the Cavaliers will have an opening soon.
They very well should, but if they win a championship or even get to the finals again, Ty Lue's gonna be safe. It's stupid. But besides the Knicks signing up a coach, the Phoenix Suns have gotten a new coach as well, giving a shout out to the first non-North American head coach in the NBA, Igor. I do not even want to attempt his last name.
Just
Igor K.
From the Utah Jazz.
From the Utah Jazz assistant coach thing. Good for you, Igor, for being the assistant coach from the Jazz to move to the head coach of the Suns. You're going to have a lot of work to be cut out for you. I don't know how much influence he had with Donovan Mitchell as being such a young rookie, but he has a very young guard in Devin Booker. If whatever works for Donovan Mitchell can be translated to Devin Booker, you could have a really good player on your hands. So they got some key pieces in Phoenix that they can manipulate because they do have Devin and Tyson Chandler. Yep. Two good pieces right there. You got the big and the low, and go to work.
And they still have what's that? The rookie that they drafted too. Such with a J. I don't remember his name. Cavs wanted him.
Don't remember. I really have not followed the Suns this year.
He didn't have that great of a season.
Yeah. Well, the Suns as a whole didn't have that great of a season as well. But one thing I wanted to give a quick shout out to was Becky Hammonds was getting some interviews for a couple of head coaching positions in New Orleans. Not New Orleans, sorry. Charlotte, Memphis, as well as they were looking for her at the Suns before they picked up Igor. I like the fact that she's getting interviewed to be the first female head coach.
Yep.
It's bound to happen. It's about time.
I want to see it.
So do I. She was the first NBA female assistant coach with the Spurs from Greg Popovich. That was very, very good. She was a great basketball player herself in the WNBA.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be a good fit for wherever she lands. It's going to be tough to buy the players, to get the players respect. And to have the players buy into the system that she's going to try and implement. Hopefully she doesn't do it super WNBA-ish with fundamentals being key, which is very important. But like with fundamentals being key, pick and roll and pop and shots. It's going to be weird to see how she can translate to a guy's game. But if anyone can do it.
She has to definitely go to a team that's young and doesn't have an ego.
Yeah.
Maybe...
There's no really good teams that can take her like right now, other than like the Spurs, because like the Spurs, you have to sell your soul to get into that franchise. Anyways, like you can't have an ego if you're going to be working for Popovich. So that's why I think it was a good fit for where she was right now. Going to another team, like especially if she goes to Charlotte with the Hornets with Michael as her, I don't know.
Not
neither do I. I hope she lands on her feet. I hope she does well. I don't know why she's really. I don't want to say wasting her time with the NBA. She could be coach of the year in the WNBA. I don't know why she hasn't. Well, someone's gonna have to go through the door in the NBA. Who's a better fit than Becky Hammonds, right? So, more power to her. I hope she does. Someone takes a chance on her. Hopefully, that the teams can build around her as well, and to buy in. But other than that, nothing else has been happening other than the basketball games that we've been talking about here. Nothing on the outside with signings or free agencies or contract talks as of yet. They usually wait until after the playoffs are said and done. But I know we'll have another wrap up there as well for the season, and we'll probably have a mid off season podcast just to talk about some stuff, seeing what stories might be happening here,
especially after the draft as well.
Oh yes, we're probably gonna have a couple draft conversations as
off-season trades and everything, trade deadline.
Yep. Trae Young coming into the league. I don't know. It's gonna be huge. Other than that,
Angelo.
Anything else
Yeah.
that you wanted to talk about here today?
Nah, we're pretty good.
Yeah, everything was good here today, guys. Of course, leave a comment there if there was any topics that we might have missed out. If you want to hear on the next podcast, let us know. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment there for you guys. As always, if you made it through the whole podcast, you the real MVPs. Other than that, guys, have a good one and watch Game 3 tonight for the Raptors and cheer on your Toronto Raptors against the Cavs.
All right, peace.
You
out.
know it. Peace.